Yo, yo, what's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to Nerds on Culture with Stormy B Man for this Monday, February 13th, 2023. And this is number 33 already in the
Wow.
series of Nerds on Culture. And we're taking this particular show back to TV. That's right. When you used to flip on the boob tube, man, and catch them old series from early in the day, man, I'm going to tell you something. And we got a gem of a discussion for you this evening because we're going to talk about a show that basically had the community just busting the seams with laughter and everything, man, as we talk about Sanford and Son, man. It's one of the greatest television shows in the history of
Yeah.
television. And this came in 1972 and it aired until 1977, actually, till the passing of Red Fox, who had done the show in a couple of different iterations. But we're going to talk about when the show had its inception. It came on the heels of a show in 1971 that kind of showed a little bit of that same personality from a different side of things, where we had All in the Family with the famous Archie Bunker, which we'll get to him
Yeah.
and his show eventually. But tonight, we wanted to start it off with Fred G. Sanford, and the G is for good television. So with no further ado, allow me bring my partner in crime here, Drew Titan, in the building with me this evening. What's going on, man? Happy to
Salute.
talk about this.
Salute, Sensei. Salute, man. This is one of those this is one of those programs that's instrumental in Black culture and is instrumental in my childhood. When you talk about good TV and funny stuff, you had to bring up Sanford and Son. And I already know I'm gonna tell you what my favorite episode is, but I'm sure you're already gonna know. But uh uh this man, by the time I got to see it and they was able to get a laugh at it, I was watching reruns. I was born in 75,
Yeah.
right? It stopped airing in 72. So when it was re-airing in the 80s, I was able to sit there. By the time I was about maybe 8 or 9 years old, I was able to comprehend the jokes. And what I did realize was my cousins, they had Red Fox comedy albums. And I'm like, man, this is the guy from Sanford and Son. And my cousin was like, you want to hear it? And I was like, why you want me to hear? You know, why? He said, he's like, you look around, make sure my aunt and my uncle wasn't around. He said, you want to hear this? And he put it on the record player. And Red Fox, see, back then, everything there's no shop today.
Right.
But back then, we couldn't curse in the house and we weren't allowed to listen to certain stuff. And my cousins were about maybe 6 to 7 years older than me. So when I'm like 8 years old, they're like teenagers. It's like, yo, you want to hear this? And he put it on a record player. And he's like, yo, just listen. And the first album that he played for me, it was called "You Gotta Wash Your Ass."
Yeah, that's the one. That is the one. I was hoping you were going to say that, man.
Holding up a horse's, he's by a horse's ass, and he's holding up the tail, and he's like, man, we was listening to that, and I'm like, oh man.
He said, I don't care how old you are, how rich you are, what kind of car you drive, what house you live in, you still gotta wash your ass.
Man, and that was like, I never seen that. So you gotta understand, in the 80s and in the 70s, it was different. A lot of the stuff we take for granted now is taboo back then. You couldn't say ass on TV. You couldn't do it. Even when you was referring to the actual animal, you couldn't do it. They'd bleep it, or you just wouldn't say it. And when I saw that record, I said, huh? They can do that? He said, listen to this, and I'm listening to it. I'm like, oh man, I think back at it right now. I was laughing. You ever tried to hold in a laugh and you start tearing up? Oh
Good.
God, it was so funny. But that was my introduction to, because all of those albums he did, that was live stand-up.
Right.
That was before Sanford and Son.
Right.
And I said, man, this guy's real. And then you start hearing, because my era, the comedian of my era was Eddie Murphy.
Right.
And he gave a lot of props to Red Fox. And then Richard Pryor gave props to Red Fox. I said, oh man, so this guy here, Red Fox, is the truth. And he had a few live albums.
And that's
All of
why
them
the
were
younger
hilarious.
generation don't understand the significance of the movie Harlem Nights.
Yes.
When they were all in that movie together, because those men, it was like a direct connection from Red to Richard to Eddie. That was, you can't recreate that, those historical comedians, for what they've done. And Sanford and Son was a show that even white audiences loved. Sanford and Son. They couldn't help themselves. It's just like we couldn't take our eyes off of Archie Bunker, because what it was like looking through a window of an American household with Archie Bunker from a white person's standpoint of existence, and from Sanford and Son, it's like looking into the black experience. And they were in Watts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, man, it was such a great show, man. And so many, just the skits and everything, there are so many quips, so many lines of dialogue, and the people who played in the show. I got something I wanted to share here. I see what you put up there. I'll put that up in a second. But the original cast right here, where you got Red Fox, man, plays Fred Sanford. And of course, when you look at, who else is in the show with the cast, you got Damon Wilson, who played Lamont, his son. LaWanda Page played Esther.
Yeah.
Gregory Sierra played Julio.
Man.
And my man, what's his name? That played Grady. I'm trying to remember the Whitman Mayo. Whitman Mayo played Grady, and Nathaniel Taylor played Rollo. Man, these people right here, bro, when the show would be on, and any combination of these people on the screen at the same time, Drew, I'm telling you, you knew you was going to be laughing your butt off for that episode, man. It was...
I'm laughing thinking about it.
I know, right? It's like these people, man, some of the most classic characters ever put on television, man. Look at the ethnic representation there. You got, Gregory, he was a Latin man. And of course, this was that era, just like when we talked about the break-in, right? Yeah, and how the black and brown communities were together. They blended and everything. Then when you had Julio move right next door to Sanford Arms, they called it the junkyard. He called it Sanford Arms, like it was some kind of prestigious hotel or something, right? But Julio moved next door, and he had a goat.
He had a goat.
And Fred was out there working in the yard, and the goat come over there, and he definitely had a heart attack. He said, "Oh, what is that monster in the yard?"
He was saying, "Buenos dias, Mr. Sanford. He said, there's beans and disease to you too."
Boy, that man was so ignorant, man.
Oh man.
It was hilarious.
So many episodes, man. That's it. You gotta wash away.
This man was something else, man. And you know what? When they would put the makeup on him for Fred Sanford, it made him look a lot older than he really was at the
Yeah, it
time,
did.
didn't it? It was like even when he got to be the age that Fred Sanford really was, he still didn't look as old
He
as
didn't look as bad.
they made him look. And he used to do that walk. You know,
Yeah, the
he wore
old.
the suspenders, his belly over his pants. He used to do that walk with his arms swinging. Man, this man was hilarious, bro. He was hilarious.
Man. Oh my God.
But those characters, I'm telling you, man, they were hilarious. They were hilarious. And I show because I got two more sets of the cast of the show, but I wanted to show that first because that was the initial cast.
Right.
Was there anything else you wanted to say about his album here before I take it down?
No, he had, I forgot how many albums. My cousin had 3, I believe. He might have had 3. But this one sticks out because look at that damn cover.
Yeah, man.
That is hilarious, man. That is
This
hilarious.
man was funny. He was funny, man. And he had a natural comedy about himself. You know, he could just take something and turn it in. You know, he grew up with Malcolm X, and they worked on the train cars with one another. And they used to listen to the fights on the radio and stuff. Yeah. That's actually depicted in Spike Lee's Malcolm X, and he was in the movie Red Fox, the guy playing him, but they didn't focus on him. But he was there when they were in the back listening to the radio.
If you knew, you knew.
The guy came in there telling them, "Get your butts back out there and serve the customers and everything."
Right.
But they were on their rail cars, man. And Malcolm said that he said that Red Fox used to keep them in stitches, man, just laughing. It made the job easier, you know, dealing with what they were dealing with.
There's a picture of them when they were young together. I saw it on the internet somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a picture with them, man. But like you said, you know, I would like to do a movie review on your show with Harlem Nights, because that, by the time that was released, it was groundbreaking, and the younger audience will never know how groundbreaking that film was. It was a legitimate all-star cast. It was an all-star cast there.
I just found out something earlier this morning that you mentioned that. Check this out, Drew and chat. Someone suggested that Life is a sequel to Harlem Nights. Let me tell you how it works. The character that Eddie Murphy played in Life, remember, he wanted to get back to New York, right? But they had told him in Harlem Nights, they had ran him out of New York. Remember?
Yeah.
Now, check this out. Remember when he had that fight? And old boy hit him and he said, "I know a bitch named Della that hit harder than you." That was Della Reese from Harlem Nights when he shot her in the pinky toe.
So you mean that might be quick?
Yeah.
You think that's a sequel, or that was just...
Well, put it like this. Eddie Murphy was known to put Easter eggs in his films back then, before we called them Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And things of that nature. And just this morning, I had heard about that on my ride to work because I was listening to some YouTube content and it came up on a short. And the guy was talking about it. I was like, dang, I never thought about that. But remember, he had gotten run out of New York in the movie Harlem Nights.
Yeah.
And then when he met Martin Lawrence in Life,
yeah.
Remember, he was trying to run the game on Martin Lawrence because he was down on his luck.
What was his name in Life?
I forget the name of his character. I mean, we could Google it real quick.
Yeah, was it? I'm trying to figure out, was it because he's known for putting Easter eggs, like in Coming to America, when he gave the bag of money to the bums.
But in Harlem Nights, they called him Quick.
Yeah.
So they didn't really say his name, but he was always referred to Quick.
Ray Gibson in Life. That was his name.
Right, Ray.
Wow. Like you remember in Coming to America, where he gave the bag of money to the two bums on the street, and it turned out to be the dudes from
Trading Places.
from Trading Places.
Yeah. But see, he did stuff like that. But I just thought I would put that out there because I just discovered that this morning.
That might be. I just saw they just put it in the chat. Let me Google it. Detroit Red and Chicago Red. Let me see. Yup, this is the picture. That's the picture right there. That's it. Let me go ahead and share that. That's the picture that I saw online. That's it. That's them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the two of them both had that wide nose.
Yeah, they could have been brothers, man.
Mm-hmm. Both redhead dudes.
Yep. And Red Fox could sing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. Ain't
I
that
mean, he used to break out into that song. And how could I be sure that this is love beyond compare? He would do that.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. He was so talented. And what he did was he took all of his friends and associates and put them in the show. Like LaWanda Page. She was a performer, a stage performer and everything. And she was really a hot-looking woman and everything.
Yes,
but they
in
made
real
her
life,
look
yeah.
like Esther, old lady with a bag, and a wig on her head or whatever. But LaWanda Page was like one of those smooth chocolate ladies,
Yeah, she was a performer. Yep. Man, that was something else. I didn't see that until later. But she played that role on Esther. Because if you black,
she played the heck out of that role, bro.
Everybody had an aunt or a mother that was like Aunt Esther.
You old fish-eyed fool.
Fish-eyed fool.
And then she want to swing her purse at him and stuff like that.
The power of Jesus. Hallelujah.
And then her old drunk husband, Woodrow.
Yo. You know what I noticed? Did you notice some of the black shows? They shared the same cast.
Yeah.
You would see the actors on the Jeffersons, on Good Times, and on Sanford and Son. And I might be forgetting one.
Wait till I show you the third collage of the actors who were in the show. But before we move away from this first collage, my man Rollo, who was Lamont's best friend, man. Let's talk about how Fred didn't like Rollo at all, man. He was because he knew Rollo wasn't no good, man. Rollo was a thief and everything, man.
Yo, listen. Do you remember the episode where I think Rollo had his own place and Lamont goes there and they had some ladies come over? No. There was two episodes. Rollo's boys came over and they were gonna play a card game. And Lamont was going to play the damn card games, and Fred kept telling him, "Don't go play the damn game because those guys are crooks." And he said, "Pop, you always in my business, Pop. Come on, Pop." So then there was a scene where he was at the house and he called the phone. Lamont answered the phone and said, "Hello?" And Fred's like, "Don't play the game." He hung up on him. And then he called back. He's like, "Hello?" He's like, "Dummy." And he hung the phone on the That was funny.
Man, do you remember when they were singing and he come through the door and salute the champ side because he plays the sound bite on his channel. But Fred and his boys were sitting up there singing and they was la-di-dee, la-di-da, it's autumn. And when Lamont come through the door, he said, la-di-dee, la-di-da, is dummy. That was his name through the show for Fred. Dummy. You big dummy.
That was a form of abuse. Dummy. You big dummy.
Man, I tell you something. It'll have you. And like, who was that earlier in the chat said, I think it was 704 Joe. I think he said, man, I watched that show so many times. He said 40, 50 years later, the same jokes are still funny as you heard them for the first time.
Funny.
And it's true. It's true. You know what I'm saying?
Dare I say that the writing and the cast, it was ahead of its time.
Way ahead of its time.
It was clean comedy. There was nothing vulgar. There was no sexual undertones. I mean, this was like good comedy. They had its serious moments. But this was like, you could watch it right now and still laugh.
Dude, one of my favorite episodes was when he had that woman over there, not Donna, but he had another woman over there, and they were sitting at the table in the kitchen, and Fred said something, and she said, Fred Sanford, mind your manners. You need to be quiet. He was like, you don't tell me to shut up in my own house. he was
yo, I got that saved on my Instagram. She said, Fred Sanford, I'll tell you, we'll talk about this some other time. He said, you don't tell me what to do. He said, I'll remove my foot from your behind. Yo, I was crying. I was not having it.
Fred,
that's viral online now. That scene is viral.
He loved the ladies, but he would always put them in their check. That feminist stuff, he wasn't playing that. Fred wasn't having that. Nope. And Donna, his real flame, and Lamont didn't like her. He called her the Barracuda. Remember? They always had nicknames for people.
Yo.
Man, but what a great show. Like you said, the writing was like off the chain, man. It was like you couldn't, you just didn't know what was going to be said, from one show to the next. It was like they had so many different things, man. That like when he was working out in the yard and them dudes was over there by where Julio, I don't think Julio was living there then, but they was over there, they was like breaking in or something. And Fred was like, hey, what y'all doing over there? And the guy said, you don't know and you don't want to know. And he was like, what you mean I don't want to know? And the guy stuck the gun in Fred's face.
Man.
And he called the cops. Hey, remember the black cop and the white cop? They would come in.
The black cop and the white cop.
Yeah, they're part of that collage that I got coming up.
Man.
But this is the second collage I wanted to show, man, where it was Fred and his buddies and Esther on here, man. Man, let's talk about these guys.
Oh, man.
We got Bubba on there, Grady on there. Man, these were a cast of characters, bro.
Oh, man, I remember the episode with Bubba. He's trying to get his great-grandfather's records that was worth some money.
Yeah, I want my daddy's records.
I want my daddy's records. Oh, man. I forget the two guys on the upper right-hand side. I forget their names.
Dude, they had, but I'm going to tell you something. I don't remember their names on the show. I would have to, but those were Red Fox's real life friends. I told you he would cast his real buddies in the movie, on the TV show. So some of them would make a guest appearance, and some of them would make return appearances because he did that to keep money in their pocket, especially after the show became a hit.
Right,
he would bring his buddies in. Yeah, Bubba and Skillet, Slappy White, Leroy. Yeah, man. These guys were all crazy, bro.
Yeah, that's his
name. They were all crazy. Remember he used to go in the drawer and get out the glasses, and he had like 50 pair of glasses in the drawer.
Yo, that's how I felt this past Sunday. I had to take that test. I had to buy a pair of reading glasses. I swear to God, man. But and I thought about that. I said, man, I feel like Red Fox. Put those damn things on me. His eyes look big, and I was an Easter egg in Harlem Nights when he said, "You dumb fool, put on those goddamn glasses." He put the glasses on, and his eyes look. Oh man,
this funny. Is the last collage I wanted to show.
Look at Pat Morita.
Yeah, look at that, man. Pat Morita on there. You got Lena Horne on there.
Yeah,
man.
Look at the goat. Look at the goat.
There's the goat down there, bro. That's the goat. Julio's goat, man.
Yo, what's his name? Right over the white cop right there. That actor right there was on Good Times. And do you remember? You remember they always
Raymond Allen. His name is Raymond Allen.
You remember when they always used to refer to a guy out in the street, be one in the street called Ned the Wino?
Yeah.
When they finally brought him in the house and sobered him up, remember he was sitting on the couch just smiling?
Yeah.
And come to find out, Shorty said, "Yeah, my husband been missing for days." Wait a minute. He's been here all this time? I said, "Oh, snap. That's Ned the Wino?" You know why he would get drunk and wander the street because he didn't want to go home to his wife.
Right.
That's that. It was like the second season you find that out. You heard the name, you never knew who he was though. Ned the Wino ain't want to be home with his wife. He'd get drunk and wander the block. That's crazy.
But wait, man, check this out. Let me take you back down memory lane for real, bro. For real. Do you remember May Hopkins, the white lady with the short hair up there?
Yes.
Man, Fred used to talk about her. She's at the top over there on the right side. Yeah. She was the one he always talked about how ugly she was and stuff. Oh, ugly white woman. And Fred would be saying that stuff on TV. And the funny thing about it, the audience would be rolling. Because remember, when they did these shows, they were filmed in front of a live studio audience at the time.
Yeah.
That was crazy, bro. That was crazy. The two policemen, man. The brother was Howard Williams, who went on later to do 227, right?
227. Great sitcom. Great
right.
Sitcom.
And then Howard Platt, who was his partner, Officer Howard Platt. And they were like frickin' frack, man. Those two guys, they would come in there and he would say stuff like, what did he say?
He would get all of our lingo wrong.
Yeah, any kind of slang, he'd always mess it up, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to spend your money over there. You might get torn off. You mean ripped off? Oh, yeah. Oh,
exactly, man. Exactly. But this show was hilarious. You remember when Fred and Lamont had to go to court and Fred was like, I could represent myself in here. And the judge was like, well, what's your problem? He was like, I want to know why everybody I've seen come up in here, you don't give him a hard time and everything. He was like, what did he say? He said, what do you mean, mister? He's like, what is your name? He was like, Fred G. Sanford. And the judge told him, he was like, well, I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Sanford. He was like, you don't know? He was like, look at all these niggas in this courtroom. You got enough niggas in here to make a Tarzan movie.
There's enough niggas in here to make a Tarzan movie. I remember that shit. Yo, I was in the living room. I was like, oh, snap. He can say that? Oh, man. Fred you can tell Red Fox wrote that.
Fred was crazy, man. I'm telling you. He just would say stuff. You know, it was like, man, you can't make it up, bro. You can't make it up.
God.
This show was one of the greatest 30 minutes out of your evening, man, during the week. Everybody wanted to come home and watch Sanford and Son, man. And that wonderful soundtrack to the show was
Legendary.
written and made by Quincy Jones, man. That was when Quincy Jones was producing some of his best work and everything. But when you hear that song, man, and I would love to play it on here, but you know how they are with flagging for stuff, so I made sure I decided not to do that. But it's just an amazing piece of Americana, bro. This
Maybe
show right here.
maybe if I play the audio low through my phone, you think
Nah, I don't even want to risk it, bro.
no
I don't
doubt.
want to risk it because the show is monetized, and I don't even want to.
You don't want no smoke with these clowns,
No,
yeah.
because they on me, you know, they on
Clowns,
me.
yeah, man.
I sent you that text about what somebody else was doing, and they
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
I couldn't understand. I'm listening to the whole thing. I'm like, they ain't took them off the air. They ain't did nothing. It's like it's
Yeah.
just playing. I wasn't jealous. I'm just trying to figure out, like,
how they do it.
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna get an answer. I'm gonna call them up. I'm gonna get an answer because I ain't called them yet. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna get an answer. I like to know how that. Well, you know, everyone on YouTube does certain things. It's like the rules don't apply to everybody. The same rules
And
don't
some
apply.
people are slipping through the cracks on the radar because they watching other people too much.
True that.
You know?
True that. But if there's a way to get it done, I'd like to know because I don't mean nobody no harm.
Exactly.
It's for educational purposes.
That's the only reason why I don't produce more beats with Sugar, because some shows they just let everything ride, and then other shows they flagging me for the content, and I'm like, come on, man. The whole show is just a homage. Ain't nobody trying to get rich off of this or anything. We're doing dedications to the artist, drawing people to the artist. You know what I mean? Even a show like this tonight is gonna make somebody go back and watch.
Go back and watch it. Yeah. We keep these people alive. It's like sampling jazz music when you're a rapper.
Yeah.
Keep them alive. I'm looking at Pat Morita. I remember when they were selling Chinese food out of their house. I remember that episode. Pat Morita's been every Asian all over television.
I know,
Japanese,
right?
Korean.
He's been around everybody too, bro. All the TV shows, man. All the TV shows.
Man, I remember this, man. They still air Sanford and Son. I got one of these channels that still air it. I got an all-black channel. I forget what it's called. They air everything over there. But goodness, man, this was funny. This is some funny stuff.
I got
what my favorite episode
on
is?
DVD.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Yeah, you know what? I want this on box set, Blu-ray, if they have it. You know what my favorite episode is?
What's that?
When the boxer came. That boxer, remember him?
Yeah, I ain't seen that episode in a long time.
And he had hit Lamont.
Mm-hmm.
He hit Lamont and hurt him. And Fred came out, you know, with you know, that weird fighting style he had.
Uh-huh.
But what happened was he really hit dude. And he knocked him out. He knocked him out in front of the house. And he was on the floor. And the dude liked to eat. So dude was laying there unconscious. And I think it was it may have been Bubba who found this guy. And how he woke him up. He said, all right, it's time to eat. Come on, it's time to eat. And dude just got up off the floor.
Got up and walked.
He walked off. That shit was funny. Oh, my God. That is hilarious.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man. Oh, 704 Joe says they play music, but they put a low-level noise behind it. I did hear that before. They'll put like something, like a low-level noise behind it. So someone can't sample the song off your show because you won't hear it unless you're like it's in your headsets. I mean, we'll hear the track, but the overall, it's like a steady noise behind it.
Oh,
I did hear that. I need to know how to do it exactly though, because yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do some homework on that. There's a decibel that you got to play it on so you don't get flagged. I know the brother Champ Side does it a lot. He'll play some tunes, and I'm like, all right, but it's low, so you can't. And he's talking over it, but you'll hear it. So I'm gonna find out the decibel. But if you want to play it louder, you got to put a noise behind it. I did hear something about that a while ago. I forgot about that. Thank you, 704 Joe. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jared. Slappy White that played Melvin was Red Fox's actual old friend starting out in comedy. Yep. True story.
Yeah, man. Do you remember the episode when Lamont wanted to learn karate?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Man, I'm telling you, man, these shows is like it is like real stuff because you think back to that era. It's like somebody come up with these get rich quick schemes and everything. Like when Lamont paid all that money for that vase, remember? And he was like, Pop, what I got in this box gonna make us rich. I'm talking about we done hit the big time. He found that old little sculpture, whatever, in the antique shop or whatever, but it wasn't really had no value or whatever. But Lamont was sitting there at the table. He was licking his lips and stuff. This is it, Pop. I'm telling you, we gonna really hit the big time. Fred was looking at him like, you big dummy. But the whole show was like that, though. It was just bit
I
after
wonder
bit.
if we can get like if there's like a highlight reel of Fred on YouTube, but if I play it through the phone through my Focusrite, you think they'll bother us for that?
Yeah,
damn.
I do. Because listen, remember, the Beats with Sugar show, I've tried a lot of different things, even playing stuff behind, like what they say. I don't know if I had the right DBs or whatever, but man, they still come. And it's funny because they'll come up like within 24 hours and they be hitting me, you know. So bastard. I'm just like, no, I ain't risking nothing tonight. I ain't giving them no shot.
Not even do it.
Because any of our views that we get while we live, and there's going to be people come and check us out after we do the show because they're going to see what the subject is and they're going to want to tune in and check us out. And I don't want
no problems.
No,
yeah, okay.
nothing.
I dig it. So this was Sanford and Son started in 72 and it ran all the way to 75. So it was one season a year?
No, it ran, hold on. I got it right
77.
here.
72 to 77?
Yeah, the show ran, hold on a second. The final episode was March 25th, 77. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it started, first episode was January 14th, 1972. So literally just 50 years ago?
Wow.
That's amazing, man. Amazing.
So I know that when it ended, Red Fox came back as Fred Sanford in a show called Sanford. It was just him.
Right.
Right. It was on ABC out here. Channel 2 out
here.
This
show had 3 spinoffs: Sanford, Grady, and Sanford Arms. Yeah.
I don't remember Sanford Arms. I do remember Grady had a spinoff. It was very brief.
Yeah.
Grady. Oh, Shady Grady, man. He was funny.
Now, to go into the wiki part of this, it says, I'm trying to get to something specific here. Sanford and Son is an American sitcom television series that ran on the NBC television network from January 14th, 72 to March 25th, 77. It was based on the British sitcom Steptoe and Son, which initially aired on BBC in the United Kingdom from 1962 to 1974. Known for its edgy racial humor, running gags, and catchphrases, the series was adapted by Norman Lear and considered NBC's answer to CBS's All in the Family. Didn't I say that earlier? Yeah. That was before I even read this. Sanford and Son has been hailed as the precursor to many other African-American sitcoms. It was a ratings hit throughout its 6-season run, finishing in the Nielsen top 10 for 5 of those seasons. While the role of Fred G. Sanford was known for his bigotry and cantankerousness, the role of Lamont Sanford was that of Fred's long-suffering, conscientious peacemaker son. At times, both characters involved themselves in schemes, usually as a means of earning cash quickly to pay off their various debts. Other colorful and unconventional characters on the show included Aunt Esther, Grady Wilson, Bubba Bexley, and Rollo Lawson. Yeah, man. The show was awesome, man. The show was awesome.
Man, that was a dope ass show, man. I want to. That's the show. Like right now, family. I'm telling you, if you have time off, normally, like maybe once every other year, I'll get like really sick where I got to stay home a couple of days. You know what I'm saying? In the event that y'all are just home and y'all got time and it's like the weather's bad or you just don't feel like doing nothing, get yourself some food. And if you can find Sanford and Son, that you can watch in abundance, just sit there and just have a good time. Those jokes are timeless. Timeless. Red Fox was brilliant in that show. And everything complemented each other. Fred Sanford's friends. Oh, the funniest part, the ongoing gag in every episode. Pop, come downstairs. All right, I'll be downstairs. Then you hear the toilet flush. He upstairs using the bathroom, man. It was always funny, man. Always funny. You remember the episode where I think they hit the lotto or something, and they came across some money, and people just started showing up. They started helping various people, and they got at the end of the episode they had like $50 or something like that. And this brother shows up. He looked like Bobby Womack, and he says, "Yeah, I work for the news, and I want to interview you for, winning the money." And he said, "Look, man, you're late. We only got $50 left, man. We ain't no money." And he said, "Well, I'll take it." He put a gun in his face. And he was like, "What? Give me the money." And that was the end of the episode. They got robbed of the last $50. Man, that was funny. I said, "Oh, man, you let brothers on your property. That's what they do." That was funny, man. I said, "Man, they can't win for losing." Man, listen.
I can remember my dad tuning into this show, man, and I never heard him laugh so hard as watching Fred Sanford. My dad used to love to watch this show, man. Man, he'd have a good time.
And it's instrumental in Black culture because when you see some of these sitcoms, and I'm gonna tell you, Sanford and Son in particular, I didn't know all of my eldest friends, like my Uncle Chris, right? He's not Black. My Uncle Chris is not Black. I'll say that. But he had a lot of Black friends, and they all used to drink. And when I was at the house, I'd be looking at them, and I'm like, "Yo, this looks like the cast of Sanford and Son right here," because they all had like kids or that were my age, and they would come over, and while we over there, playing Atari or whatever, they in the kitchen drinking and smoking cigarettes. That's when you was able to do it in the house. You know what I'm saying? And then my grandfather had friends. They came over, and I'm like, man. So when I say that this is instrumental, when you see these characters, you can actually find someone on the sitcom that reminds you of somebody in your family.
Exactly.
So that
was the thing about it. It was like, and you heard me say this earlier in the show when we first kicked off. I said it was like peering through the window of someone's household, with what's going on. It's like, you remember when Fred always tell Lamont, "You want me to fix you something to eat? I got some corned beef hash in there."
It's some off.
It's like same.
I got some pig feet and collard greens in the fridge. Want something to eat? It's like, oh man.
And here we had that big ass pot. Remember that big pot, the kind that they have, with that spoon in there.
Do you remember the episode where Rollo? I think it was Rollo's apartment, and Rollo and Lamont, they said, yeah, man, we're going to have some girls come over tonight. Pop, don't mess this up for me. So he said, okay. He said, listen, let me make you this pot of food. I'm going to bring it over with some Ripple. That's how you get the ladies. They say, Pop, man, get out of here. He said, we're going to feed them when they get here. He said, what you going to feed them? He said, we got some cheese and crackers. He said, they're not birds, man. he said, man, let me, and it was a pot of, what did he always make in that pot? It wasn't, was it gumbo?
Hog mogs and something.
Yeah, it was some southern.
Ethnic.
Yeah, it was some super ethnic. And he was like, Pop, don't nobody eat that, right? And they go to the house, the girls show up, and the sisters were fine. It was one dark skin and one brown skin. They were fine. I mean, Thelma from Good Times, fine. They were fine.
Yeah, they always had them kind of women on the show.
Yeah, they were fine. Look at somebody for your pork butt. Yeah, it was something weird like that. It was always something weird. So they sitting down, and the girls were uppity. They were like, what's going on in here? And it was like, yeah, so Lamont says, yo, man, you want something to eat? She said, yo, what y'all got to eat? He said, yeah, we got some cheese and crackers. And she said, we not birds. I said, oh, no. So then there's a knock at the door. And Rollo opens the door. Fred's standing there with the pot and the Ripple. Man, the crowd went crazy. He comes in there with the pot. The girls say, what you got in that pot? He said, I got some pig feet and collard greens. And, oh, this is eating. And they start putting on a plate. And the girls are hovered over Fred. What you got in that bag? I got some Ripple. Oh, and Lamar
the women went toward him, and they forgot about Lamar and Rollo.
They ignored their ass. Man, that was so funny. Word up. Neck bones and shit. He was so southern. You got a super chat, bro.
Yeah, I see it. I was just letting you finish. Salute to Jared 011 Green out there in the super chat, man. We appreciate you, bro. He says, excuse me, let me pull it up on the screen here. He says, you remember when Fred made that oatmeal and it stuck to the pot? Yeah, man, I remember that. Fred was always messing something up in the kitchen, though. He was supposed to be a good cook, but it was always a scenario around him cooking that would make him burn something or the food or the dinner get ruined or something. But one thing was always for certain. His girl, Donna, and that other chick he liked that was real pretty, the dark sister that been in some black exploitation movies. I can't think of her name right now, but she's on that collage that I put up there. And thank you, Jared 011 Green, for your super chat, bro. But she's on here. Where is she at? There she is with the long hair.
On the right.
Yeah, on the right. That sister there. They couldn't cook. Remember? Fred would always talk about them. They couldn't cook or anything, but they was fine. And him and Lamont, and he would always mess it up for Lamont. Remember when Lamont have a female and he'd always be, son, don't worry.
I didn't know that. Look at Ron Hall. I didn't know that. The women that played Donna and Aunt Esther, they were real life sisters.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I found that out like years later, But I didn't know that either at first, but I found it out years later. Man. But yeah, thanks again for that super chat, bro.
Fish-eyed fool. I will never forget that.
Now, I got one memory for this that, when we laughed about that la-di-dee, la-di-da, do you remember when Fred pulled Esther's wig off?
No.
You didn't see that episode?
No. What?
Dude, they was arguing, and Lamont had jumped in between them, and she tried to whack Fred with her purse, and Fred pulled her wig off her head. Dude, I think that's the episode that I remember my dad laughing the hardest. He was stomping his feet. He was laughing and slapping his knees. And she grabbed her head because she had one of them stockings on her head, and her hair was in braids under the stockings. So she had a wig on top of her head, and she went running out of the damn house. Dude, it was funny as heck.
Let me see if that's on YouTube.
It's got to be. It's one of the funniest episodes ever. When Fred pulled Esther's wig off her head. It's got to be out there.
Stormy, it's on here.
Yeah, I told you. It's got to be on there.
It's on here. I'm looking right at it.
What's the title of it? I'll pull
It's
it up.
called Fred Sanford Takes Esther's Wig in a Fight.
Okay, let me pull it up.
And he's filming it from his phone on the TV.
Hold on a second.
Watch it, sucker. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up.
No, what is he doing? Took the wig off. He ran out the house. He ran.
Dude, hold on a second. Hold on.
Wait a minute. Should I put the link in the chat?
No. Hold on. Well, if you want, you can. Yeah, go ahead. Put the link in the chat. I'm gonna see if I can play a little bit of it. It's 53 seconds on the one that I got.
Yeah, that's it.
But
that's it.
I don't want to play the whole thing because
just get to towards the end. Yeah, D-Lo. I remember her. He had a rich girlfriend named Evelyn. Oh my God,
okay,
that's
hold on.
funny.
Yeah, got on. I got it.
Shit.
Queued up here. Now, let's see here. Share screen.
Oh man.
Let's see here. Now, here we go.
Wait a second. Wait a minute.
Dude. That's crazy, bro. That's absolutely crazy. Hold on a second. Let me get my screen together.
Oh my God.
Right? That was hilarious, bro.
Oh man, I can't. Oh my God. That is freaking hilarious. Oh my gosh. Listen.
Crazy, man.
For those of you that have never watched Sanford and Son, please. Look, we drop gems on Mondays, man. When we say go check something out, man, please go check it out, man. Sanford and Son is funny right now. 1972 to 1977. That's 5 years of great writing and great comedy. Did they ever have a farewell episode? Did I miss that? Or did they just not resign and just end it?
No. Yeah, it ended. It ended, but the second time it ended, I think it was due to Red Fox's passing away.
Oh wow!
Because he was still doing the show. Yeah,
man.
Hold it down for a minute for me, Drew, because I'm gonna reload my page.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Sanford and Son. Look, there's a lot. We're gonna review a lot of sitcoms. So those of you that are men and women of a certain age, y'all grew up how we grew up. I wasn't born until 75. Sanford and Son ran from 72 to 77. So I was still a child when it was coming on live television. I didn't get to watch it with a critical eye until like in the 80s, like when I was like 9 to 10 years old, and I was cracking up then. And if you watch these things, you'll crack up right now, man. Right now, man. Listen, brilliant, 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 brilliant show. Ron Hall, I remember that episode. Yeah, when dude Roscoe tried to take Donna from him. Man, Fred, man, how many episodes every season?
I think at first it started off like 16 per season.
Mm-hmm.
I think some shows went up to 32, but that was many years later. But I think the initial runs of these new seasons for shows back then were like 16 episodes.
Man, that's a whole day. I mean, I'll break my diet that day if I get to watch it. I'll sit down and eat a bowl of cereal and just watch it all day, man. This is just funny stuff, man.
One of the great pastimes, because when like that episode there, because you say you had never seen that, right?
I probably saw the episode, but I didn't see the ending. Yeah.
Yeah. He pulled Esther wig off, man.
Oh, that's funny.
And
Ron Hall
then,
said Paul Mooney, Gary Shandling, and Richard Pryor all wrote for the show. Wow.
dude,
Man.
I remember he told Esther one time, he said, your face should be donated to the Bureau of Wildlife. And and she would say stuff back at him, but it was never as bad as what he would say to her. Because the worst one was he told her, I'll take your face and dip it in some dough and make some gorilla cookies. Dude, I'm telling you.
That's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's messed up. That's messed up. That's messed up. I remember that. Dip it in some dough, make some gorilla cookies.
Dude,
oh
that was hilarious, man. That was hilarious. No stopping on that. And then, do you remember the episode when the dude came to try to tell Lamont he was Lamont's dad? Remember?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'm Lamont's father. Elizabeth was my woman. And he was like, Lamont is my son. And then they were arguing, and Fred got all sentimental about it and everything. And he was like, you're going to have to prove it. And then the dude said, well, I know how we could prove it. We could ask Esther. And then Esther was like, I ain't getting in y'all mess or whatever. And then he was like, yeah, because it was a hot summer night. And I came over there, and Elizabeth had the bedroom that was by the back of the house and upstairs. And he was like, and one night I went up there and me and Elizabeth got it on. And so 9 months later, Fred, I'm Lamont's daddy. And they was looking, Fred was like, what? And then Esther was like, see, you lying. Because that upstairs bedroom to the back wasn't Elizabeth's bedroom, it was mine.
My bedroom, exactly.
And
I
then
remember that.
When Fred looked at Esther and said, wait a minute. He said, wait a minute. You said that you went up there. It was a hot summer night. He said, and Esther said that was her room. So, Esther, you don't remember? And she was like, oh, Lord, hallelujah. They was all in there laughing. Y'all, get thee behind me, Satan, she said. And she ran out the house.
She ran out. She was like, oh, Lord, get thee behind me, Satan. And she broke out the house. I remember that.
She ran out the house again.
Oh.
Dude, I was rolling. Esther didn't remember.
She didn't remember.
Drew was all proud. He was like popping his collar and everything. He was like, yeah, the upstairs bedroom to the back of the house.
Back.
I climbed through the window. And 9 months later, Lamont is my son.
He was like, no, that's how I know you lying. That was my bedroom. And the audience was like, yo! I remember that.
And you know how religious Esther was, right?
Yep.
So it was like
they gave you the backstory. This is why she found religion. Because of that night. Oh man.
Who was in there boning Esther?
Oh my God. And she dipped out there. Get thee behind me, Satan. Oh Lord.
I'm telling you, this show had your ass in tears.
Oh my God, that's funny.
It will have you in tears, man. Oh man. You know what? It's just talking about it brings back these memories, right? It's like,
man.
If you've seen them, it's like, but you got to see them on DVD because now even, you know, when they play it on Amazon or whatever, they do cut minutes out. You know, they shorten it a little bit. So you have to see the DVDs because the DVDs is full and uncut. But I'm telling you, man, I got tears in my eyes right now thinking about this show, laughing about it, man.
You know what we need to do? We need to do a top 10 best comedians of all time. And it's like a pound for pound. It's subjective.
Yeah.
It's subjective. We could do a top 10. That'd be dope. That'd be real dope.
But man, I'm telling you, this damn Sanford and Son, bro. Man. I grew up on that. And I saw all the first runs, you know. Mm-hmm. And I was a little boy laughing. And some of the jokes I wouldn't know what I was laughing at, but I was laughing. But my dad, I could tell from his reaction that whatever it was definitely.
And that's what I'm saying. Because when you get older and you see it again, then it hits you like, oh, I get it now. I mean, man. And you know what's funny about what I noticed about the black sitcoms when they had a couple of white characters on there? The white characters would display white guilt, which is why they would take a lot of the bashing that they did.
Right.
The cop, the white cop on there, you know. Lord bless him, man. But there was a lot of white guilt. I mean, this is just so many memories, man. When they were doing the reruns in the 80s, both my parents were working. So after school, I'd be at my aunt's house. And I forget what time Sanford and Son would come on. It was probably like 7 p.m. Forget which channel, but we would be sitting in the living room watching that. Me and my brother and my cousins, we'd be cracking up. We'd be cracking up, man. This sitcom brings me back to a particular time. By the time I saw it, I was watching reruns, but it brings me to a time in my life where I have a care in the world, man. And they don't make them like this anymore at all.
Not at all.
You know,
I think the last show that might have been so funny like that was probably Martin.
The first season.
Yeah.
First season of Martin.
Because even though the Wayans brothers came with their show and they had people on there like John Witherspoon and stuff, it still was lacking something. But that first season of Martin, man,
groundbreaking.
It was just hilarious.
Martin had a great run, man. Martin had a great run.
And you know the thing about Tommy, man. Tommy was such an important character on that show, and it went over a lot of people's heads when the show was doing this run. But Tommy was a drug dealer, bro.
That's, you know, I said that. He was the best dressed. He always looked a little different. He looked different from Cole. Martin, we all knew what he did. But Tommy
Remember the running joke was always, Tommy, you ain't got no job, man.
No job. Yeah. You remember the episode where he met up with the white chick and they thought he was dating the white chick? This was like season 3.
Uh-huh.
He was dating the white girl. And he said, they was like, yo, man, I don't know, Tommy's dating the white girl now. He's dating the white girl. And he says, no, I'm not. At the end, he's like, no, I'm not dating the white girl, man. I just want to let you know that we're working together at my new job. They was like, what job? And then the episode ended, right? Because you don't find out. But there was a Easter egg at the end of the episode because they went on a ski trip. And there was some pro-black dude that went with them up there. So he's in the he came up there with a can of black spray paint. And I was like, what are you doing with that? He said, I'm going to paint as much of the snow as black as I can. So at the end of the episode, he comes out and he's standing in like the cabin and the white chick comes out. He says, you know, I've been wanting to say something to you all day long. She said, I've been wanting to say something to you too. And they embraced and started kissing. And then the show ended. That was funny. All of that pro-black talk. He fell in love with the white chick. But
white chick, yeah.
That you never knew what Tommy did. But me and my boys would say, yo, Tommy sell drugs. He sell drugs. It's obvious. You know, but hey, man.
Well, T-Bone Boxing out there in that super chat, he says, who you like better, the first Woodrow or the second? I think the first Woodrow was cool. I think the first one.
They did change actors on Woodrow. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
They did change. Yeah. Yeah, they did do that. To digress on Martin real quick, the reason why I put emphasis on maybe the first 2 seasons was because he was writing it and it was his creativity. But what happened was Fox, they did what Fox does.
Yeah, they had to interfere. They
interfered, and it turned into a clown show. And he was just over the top, falling on the floor.
That's like they demanded more Shanae and stuff like that. And, you know, which is like, if you look at the Chappelle show, it was the same thing. Yep. Chappelle started off that first Chappelle season, man. It was so hilarious, bro.
Groundbreaking.
You know what my favorite episodes of the Chappelle show, outside of anything that had Charlie Murphy, because Charlie Murphy just killed it on that show, man. And we got to do a show on him too.
Yeah.
But the Chappelle show, when he got Oprah pregnant, man, remember that?
Oh.
When she called him up on the phone and said, Dave, I got something to tell you. I'm pregnant. He was like, really? She's like, yeah, and I'm keeping it. He was like, oh, okay. He hung up the phone. He jumped up on the bed. He started dancing around. He was like, yeah.
He got the gold ticket.
He was celebrating getting Oprah pregnant, man. And I wonder, when she had that sit down with him on her show, I wonder, did they ever they didn't talk about it on the air, but I wonder, did she ever go whatever this is?
Man, had to. You remember the episode where he let I think he let Charlie Murphy tell the story about how they went to Prince's house.
Yeah, and they skins versus blouses.
Yeah, he said Prince was playing in high heel boots, man. Man, that was hilarious, man.
But they say Prince could play ball though.
Nah, Prince
was a hooper, man.
Prince could ball out.
Yeah,
Prince could ball out. That's what I heard. He played in high school.
That's why he went to a lot of those games. You know.
Yeah,
he showed up for
Prince
games in Minnesota and whatnot. You know
what Fox tried to do too? They tried to get Rock. Remember Rock? Charles Sutton. He used to do the show Rock. He used to come on after Martin Lawrence.
His show was very good too.
It was very good,
and
he took,
especially in the first season of his show.
He took it very serious, and then it was his idea to go live, not pre-recorded. And it was very good, and they pulled him in the back and said, "Look, we need more clown shit," because they were eating off of Martin and the foolishness, and he refused to do it. So a season later, they pulled him. And he said,
And I love the older man that played the dad.
Yeah. I forget his name.
Yeah, he was great though. He was
Matter
great.
of fact, Stormy, we need to talk about that because that was 92 to like 94.
Mm-hmm.
They had some good black sitcoms. That little piece, that was the New Jack era. They had,
and
I remember,
they took Living Single that came behind Martin, and they put that up against Martin or something like that. They made it where the shows was canceling each other out.
right.
Some foolishness.
And
But, man.
On NBC, Patti LaBelle had a show called Out All Night.
Yeah, that's where Vivica Fox first came.
That's where I first saw her too.
Yeah.
The Cosby Show was about to end. A Different World, which was a damn good show. All the seasons, even when Lisa Bonet left. A Different World was damn. We had some good black programs back then. We should cover that. We should cover. There was several shows that was really good.
We will do
really,
that.
Really good. They still air Living Single.
Yeah, we'll do that for certain. It'll be a few.
Morris Chestnut was when I first saw on Patti LaBelle's show Out All Night. That was his debut because his career took off after that. Good stuff, man.
Right. Salute to the brother Ron Hall out there in that super chat. He says, as much as I love Red Fox, Grady held it down on his level while he was gone. Love me some Grady. Goop, goobity goop. Yeah. Yeah, man. You know, it was just a different time. It was just a different time.
Yeah, man. There was an episode where Grady was sleeping, and him and Lamont were in the same bed for whatever reason, and Grady kept snoring.
Yeah.
And he was like, Grady, and he was like, Grady, and Grady jumped up. Yo, my brother. Today, I called him on the phone and asked him, remember that? He gonna start laughing over the phone. He could not stop laughing. My brother was on the floor, curled up. He had a cramp in his stomach and everything. That was funny, man. Shady Grady. Yeah, when Red Fox, what happened with Fred during that storyline?
Huh?
Because Fred had left the house for a second and Grady was staying in the house with Lamont for a while.
I think that's when Red Fox was having a contract problem with the network. He was having a contract problem, and that's why he wasn't on the air. They didn't want to take the show off the air because it was so high in the ratings, and they were negotiating a deal for him and everything.
Wow.
Some of the same shit that happens,
happens today,
it's like, I'll tell you something. When it's black and it's successful, they always find a way to undermine it.
Yeah.
So it'll come to an end. They don't want these people to live off of that. They don't want us to live that experience of success for very long. It's something, and it happens with each and every one, or I should say, it happened to each and every one of those shows because they all ended too soon. They all ended, with the actors being mistreated or
and it happens at the height.
Yes.
At the height. It's never like, okay, we lost.
But the ratings. Other shows with the other people go on and live infinitely.
Right.
Until it just tanks out when ain't nobody tuning in no more.
What was this running at the same time Chico and the Man was on TV?
Chico and the Man came a little bit later. I think Chico and the Man came about 75 or 76 because Freddie Prinze only did like a season of that, which was successful. And then after that success, he had that situation where he deleted himself.
I didn't know he was there was I think I saw I think it was a movie about his life.
Yeah.
And he was doing big things in his career. There was a lot of good things on the horizon for him. And I think he was suffering from depression or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he offed himself.
Fame came so quick to him, he didn't handle it very well. And of course he had issues in his personal life, and stuff like that. And he had just had his son, or the woman was pregnant with his son, Freddie Prinze Jr.
Right.
And before the tragedy. So yeah. But yeah, that's what's what,
It's messed
man.
up.
But hey,
Salute T-Bone.
let's
You got another
get
super
ready.
chat there.
Yeah. Let's get ready to wind this up. Salute to T-Bone Boxing out there.
Cousin Emma.
And he says, Cousin Emma. Yeah, man. Appreciate you, T-Bone. And everybody that gave us super chat this evening, man. But I'm gonna give you some time so you can get to your show. I don't want to trample down too close to the start of your show so you could get ready. But final thoughts on Sanford and Son, man.
I love Mondays because we always talk about something that brings me back a time. It brings me to a time where I was young. I had no bills to pay. I was always around my family, and all we did was eat food and laugh and have a good time. And I remember the holidays, because all we had to do was watch TV, and things like Sanford and Son got us through. We would watch Sanford and Son, and then we go upstairs where the ColecoVision and the Atari 2600 was, and we would just play that all night until we passed out. Sanford and Son is instrumental. It's a part of these comedies. These sitcoms are part of Black culture, and like I said, you can find a character in Sanford and Son, and there's somebody in your family that you can relate to if you're our age. I don't know if they're built like that anymore, but my family is straight from the South and the Midwest, and they ate Southern, and they look like I had an uncle. I had an uncle named Bubba that looked like Bubba. I'm dead serious. I'm gonna send you a picture of him, Stormy. I gotta find it. I had an uncle named Bubba that looked like Bubba. Swear to God, I did. He was from Mississippi.
This comment that Brown on Boxing made here, I just saw Malcolm Jamal Warner on a YouTube short a few days ago where he talked about this. He said one of the reasons that they stopped that show with Malcolm and Eddie was that before they got to the 100th episode, so they couldn't sign a new syndication deal. Yeah. Malcolm talked about that. I think he said they made it to 88 or something like that. But what would happen is when they get the syndication deal, they get royalties for a certain percentage for lifetime. They stopped it before it got to that point. And see, that's demonic because you're stopping these people from getting what's their due. It's almost similar to musicians getting their masters or something like that. You do all this creativity and then they pull the rug from under you and you don't get your royalty. That's why a lot of these actors and performers and everything be holding out for these deals and whatnot. And it's another reason why things happen. But I'll tell you something. People when you know better, you're supposed to try to do better. People got to stop falling into the pitfalls. They're going to offer you material possessions. They're going to offer you drugs. They're going to offer you women. They're going to offer you men if you go that way. They're going to offer you children if you go that way. They're going to offer you what your heart's desires are. When are you people going to wake the hell up and see that it is a system? And if you don't play within the system, they can't hold you and bind you by the system. You have to wake up, people. With all the creativity you have, with all the brilliant ideas and everything that you have to offer this world. Go back to Iron Man 1, when Jeff Bridges playing Obadiah Stane tells Tony Stark, before he takes the arc reactor out of his chest, he says, just because you come up with an idea, you think it belongs to you? That's the man who's got the plan. Don't be on his blueprint.
Don't do it.
Those are my final thoughts on that. But yeah, salute to everybody out there. Appreciate you guys coming out to enjoy us this evening. We've enjoyed you all. We'll be back next Monday for another Nerds on Culture show. Salute to Drew Titan holding it down with me here, man. I enjoy this show so much. And the conversation we had yesterday, I'm glad you had me reconsider some things. So, and it showed through what we did tonight. We had a nice turnout. Yeah. So, peace to everybody. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace. The fuck is going on with StreamYard?
All right. So, hey man, that was a great show, bro.
That was a dope show, man. Dope ass show. Have fun. Now I'm gonna find some Sanford something to watch. I promise you. Yo, has StreamYard been freezing?
Hold on.